to the Vietenheimer podcast. My name is Amy, and this is my podcast where I talk about my knitting and my knitting plans, maybe sometimes crochet and design. So what is in store today? I've got finished objects, I've got a whip, I have a design idea going, I have a knitwear design program that I bought to update old patterns and just to like enhance my skills as a knitwear designer. I have, some life updates. I have what I'm watching, what I'm reading, and a couple of favorite things. So, elephant in the room, I got new glasses. So that was one thing that happened over the past 2 months. It's been a while since we checked in. And I have purchased, I think, 3 or 4 sets of glasses. I had to return a pair. Anyway, I finally landed on a pair that works. A couple of pairs that work. And yeah, it's been a whole journey. So, aging is not for the faint of heart. I'll just say that. The first thing I'll get into are the finished objects. So today's finished objects are staring you in the face. I went ahead and redid the button band on my book club cardigan, and it turned out beautifully. So I don't know if you remember from the last episode, the bottom was curling up down at the bottom of this double knit button band. It was curling up in a really weird way. You can look on my Instagram and see what I'm talking about. And so I ripped this button band out. I considered ripping out the hem and making this cardigan a little longer. But I think I'll just save that for the next time I make a cardigan. I'll just do a longer cardigan because it's kind of nice to have a cropped version and then have a longer cardigan as well. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And so that's what I did, is that I left this cardigan the length that it was, and then I just ripped out that button band and redid it. And it turned out beautifully. So this cardigan is just incredible. It's the book club cardigan by Sari, Nordlund. I've talked about it ad nauseum. So if you want to learn more about it, you can go back to previous episodes. But this is just kind of like a update that I finally redid the button band. It's finished and it is gold. It is just such a great cardigan and the design is incredible. For those that haven't seen it before, I'll kind of give you a closer look, but these cables are just so pretty. This took me 9 months to make. I was knitting other things, but a solid 9 months. The pockets, this is my first time doing pockets. Super fun. Anyway, I won't go into details like I said, but I'm so thrilled that it's done and it will be a lovely finished object for the rest of my life. I was meeting with a friend of mine and she was like, that cardigan, I think we had gone out for drinks or something, and she was like, you're gonna wear that in a retirement home someday. Like that is going to go down in history as like a knitted item that you're gonna keep forever and ever and ever, and it will. So what I used for that book club cardigan by Sari Nordlund was Wild Barn yarn. And this was purchased at Shepherd's Harvest Festival last year, and I'm going next weekend with my mom, my aunt, and my sister. I'm so excited. So I purchased this from Harvest Hill Acres in Denison, Minnesota, but I got it at that Shepherd's Harvest Yarn Festival. And it's a sport weight 3-ply, 250 yards. It's CVM Rommeldale, which is kind of like this, and maybe it's combined with mohair and Angora. I think that's what it was. But anyway, super soft yarn held with mohair from Isair, and you can't get any softer than this combination. It's just incredible. So here's the Rommeldale Wild Barn yarn, and then here's the Isair mohair. So I had a little extra. There's still this yarn, I don't know if you can see it when it's up close, but there's, vegetable matter or like earthy bits inside the yarn. So yeah, that has been a joy to work with. This was my swatch. such a pretty cardigan. So yeah, I'm thrilled that it's done. It has been a joy to make and all the things. Then the next finished object is this Sophie Shawl. So many of you will probably know the Sophie Shawl by Petite Knit. It is a super famous pattern and a lot of people have one or two or three. It is just such a great design because it makes you start at one of these tips and it's so thin and it's got I-cord on either edge. It's knit and garter stitch, so it's super stretchy. And you start at one of these ends and it just keeps getting along one side, it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then eventually you just like decrease and go back this way. And so if you have a specific amount of yarn that you want to use, you can use all of that yarn. If you just weigh it ahead of time, you know exactly how much yarn you need to use, and you just keep increasing on that one side until you get to the halfway point, decrease all the way back, and voila, you have a scarf and you don't have any yarn waste, which is great. Now, I held 3 strands of Sandnes Garn Sunday. It's the Petite Knit Sunday yarn, and this colorway is called That Orange Feeling. It's $10.50 a skein, and yeah, it is a great yarn. This was my first time using Sunday and it was glorious. So holding 3 strands of this fingering weight together, I think that makes a worsted weight. Anyway, it is just this bouncy, lovely, stretchy, beautiful scarf. So what I love about, it starts really thin at the end like this, and then it keeps getting wider and wider. So you like have this wide, nice scarf around your neck, but then it like gets, you don't have big, wide bits at the bottom. Yeah, and it's easy to tuck, and like it can tuck up in there because it's just got these little thin straps at the end that you can tuck in. So you can wear it like that. You can have it down like this. I think in Petite Knits, one of her photos, she has it like she's got a big, she might have it like this. Sorry, one second. She might just have it like this. So, with this big flap in the front and then these two, I don't know. It's really great. It's easy to style. It's just a great pattern. And then, of course, she has this smaller version that's like a little Sophie scarf, and a lot of people have made that one too. I really like the shawl version though. So yeah, that's those 2 finished objects, and like I said, I really loved working with this Sunday Sandnes Garn Petite Knit yarn, and this color is that is my color. That's my dream color. It's like a red, orange, incredible color. It's like tomato, I don't know if you call it vintage red or tomato red or what it is, but it's great. So that's this one. And then I have another finished object that I will show you. I might just try it on and then I'll put it on Velma, the dress form, at some point. But I think I told you that I had this lingering whip that had been in my yarn stash forever. And this is the Cold Spring Cocoon. So it's a finished object. I, as you can see, need to weave in those ends. But look at that sleeve. I love the sleeve. I did not go far enough with the sleeve, but I don't mind. I just blocked it, so it was still damp this morning, and I think now it's fully dry. It dried pretty quickly. But as you can see, you make these 2 panels. First you make one panel, then you make the other, and it's this color is introduced with intarsia on either side. And as you can see, my intarsia is not so great right here. I need to take some yarn and just sew that down. I'm not going to obviously redo it at this point, but yeah, I kind of missed the boat on this one. that's, anyway. Intarsia, if you don't know, you go, you know, you're knitting along right here, and this is rib, and then this is stockinette stitch, this darker piece. And so you knit up to this stripe section, you twist the yarns, and then you keep going. So obviously right here, what happened is that I didn't twist the yarn. And so it created that hole. So intarsia's a little tricky. And it's okay. That's this guy. So this is the Cold Spring Cocoon. The pattern and the yarn came from Blue Sky Fibers, which is a yarn company in Minnesota. So that's pretty cool. And I think the yarn comes from Peru. This yarn itself, this is the Techno yarn, and it's a chunky weight, but it's really drapey. It's alpaca, just a lovely yarn. And when you block it, it really blooms and grows. So it was pretty, you know, right now it's down to my knees, the bottom part. And when pre-blocking, it was really scrunched up. So you block it and it just grows and blooms and all the things. So it is such a beautiful piece. I'll put it on this dress form. Yeah, so here it is. I have, like I said, I've got a couple of little holes right here that I need to tie up because my intarsia got off, but it is such a cool piece. I'll back up. So yeah, this sleeve is really cool. And it's just this, I can see why they call it a cocoon. So you seam up the back of it afterwards, and it kind of creates this cocoon-like structure. So anyway, really fun. I'll have to take some photos of it on as a finished object, and I'll put that on my Ravelry, but it's kind of hard to show you here right now, but it'll be a really fun piece, I think, next winter, because that yarn is pretty, it's chunky. It's chunky, but not. It's like, it's really airy and, I don't know how to say it. It's like, it's lightweight and lofty, even though it's a chunky weight yarn. It's not a heavy yarn. So I don't know if that's the alpaca in it, but I have a catalog from Blue Sky Fibers, and it actually has this Cold Spring Cocoon on the cover. So this is it. And the yarn is called Techno, like I mentioned. And Techno yarn is 68% alpaca, baby alpaca, 22% silk, and 10% extra fine merino. And the description is great for fast knitting with no splitting, light and lofty. It blossoms when it's blocked. Go ahead and let your creativity bloom. So yeah, that's Techno yarn. It's this one right here. And yeah, once again, this is the Cold Spring Cocoon. So yeah, super happy with that. So that is my last finished object. And then, like I said, I have a whip to share with you. And that whip is this guy. So this is the Cumulus Tee by Petite Knit. And it is bunched up on this cord right here, but yeah, this is the beginning of it. I am getting close to closing it up in the front, but right now I'm just working on these raglan increases. So yeah, this is very small, you know, fingering weight yarn with gosh, what is this even, this Cumulus Tee? I think it's maybe a US 3 needle, or no, 2.5 even. So it's going pretty slow. That's what I'll say. It is going to take a while. So yeah, it uses, I'm making the size 4, and I don't have the needles written down. Oh well. But like I said, it's going to take an incredibly long time because of how tight or small the gauge is. How do you say that? The yarn I'm using for this one is Knitting for Olive, pure silk, in the colorway, I think it's blood orange. Yes, it's blood orange. So this is the yarn. Does that look familiar? It's exactly almost the same colorway as this Sunday by Sandnes Garn. So yeah, I have a love affair with this color that goes on and on and on and on. And this, I took this to Mexico and I brought 3 or 4 skeins, and I am still on the first skein. So I was knitting a lot. I knit on the plane, I knit poolside. I was there with my girlfriends for my 50th birthday, and we had a blast. But I had a lot of time, knitting time. I even knit when we were out for breakfast. I was knitting like crazy, and this is all the further I got. So if that is any indication of how long it takes, there's this nice little raglan here, and yeah, I think there's a 4-row repeat, and I think I have to do like 20 of those, and I'm on maybe 17 at this point repeats, so I've got a few to go before I can join it and start working in the round, which I cannot wait for. Yeah, it just seems like it's taking forever. So, and I am, like I said, making the size 4, or is it the size 3? I think I was trying to decide between 2 sizes, and I think when I watched those twins who knit, and one of them made this Cumulus Tee, and I think she said when she made it, she did a size too big, and so she was going to go back or maybe it was the reverse, and make a size down, because I think after you block it and it's made, she was afraid it was going to be too small, but it actually wound up being kind of roomy, and so she was maybe going to go down a size if she made another one. So anyway, I think that made me decide to like go ahead and make the size 3, but we will see. I might be making the 4. Whatever the large size, or like the size for a 39-inch bust. So anyway, that's what I'm doing there. And then what else? So then the next thing I want to cast on, because I bought my mom some blue yarn in this same yarn that I got from the Wandering Flock. And it is a yarn base that's 35% organic cotton, 30% mulberry silk, and 20% linen, and 15% baby alpaca. So it's sport weight, and it is, like I said, the Wandering Flock in the colorway Citrine. And I gotta think, is this, I said sport weight, didn't I? Yeah, it's sport weight. And oddly, because it's sport weight, you'd think I'd use a smaller needle, but I'm going to make the Ranunculus, which Casey from Young Folk Knits did the same thing. I got the idea from her to make a summer Ranunculus Tee out of this citrine color from the Wandering Flock yarn. And I asked her on Instagram, and she said that she used the needle size that is recommended in the Ranunculus pattern, which is a US 10. So I am going to, this is an 8, because I think the neckline is a US 8, and then you use a US 10 for the pattern. And I have a sweater, a Ranunculus sweater in Kelly Green, this color that I'm wearing. And I love that sweater, but I made it with, I think I held Pearl Soho linen quill with a strand of mohair. And it's just too hot. It's too warm. It has to be like the dead of winter for me to wear that. And so I'm excited to have one with plant fibers and like a more summer yarn with silk and linen and baby alpaca and cotton. That's going to be really nice for the summer. So I got my mom the same yarn in a really pretty blue, and I'm about to give that to her. It was actually her birthday gift, but I haven't seen her. And so we're both going to make that, which I'm so excited. I think she'll really love the ranunculus pattern, as everyone does that makes it. So yeah, super excited about that. And I have not even cast it on. I really want to, part of me wants to be a monogamous knitter and just finish this tee, this Cumulus Tee. But I also want to get started on that one because it'd be fun if my mom and I were making it at the same time. And so I might do that. And then kind of work on the Cumulus Tee, have the both of them going at the same time. So that's probably what I'm going to do. And then let's see, what else? Yeah, and then the design or the cardigan that I want to make for my husband, Matt, he pulled out of this magazine. I think we picked it up at a little free library. It's Monocle, and it's the travel Monocle issue, the travel issue. He pulled this cardigan out because I'm trying to figure out like what cardigan to make for him. And I was going to design one as I go. And at first I was like, how about a shawl collar? And then we thought about that for a while, and he doesn't necessarily want to do the shawl collar, and for various reasons. But he really wants, unfortunately, I was kind of hoping that he wanted a cable knit sweater because it's more interesting as a knitter to be making cables than just doing stockinette stitch. But he would like to do something more like this, where it's like stockinette and maybe some tortoiseshell buttons. I think I got some yarn from Fiber MacGyver last year at the Harvest Sheep and Wool Festival, and then I'll be there next weekend. So my idea was to make it a DK weight to hold one strand of the fingering weight yarn that I got from her and order some Sari from her. It'll be really warm, but that's kind of the point in winter, is to have this warm sweater. So, and really soft. He really wants this like soft sweater. So I think I'm gonna hold Sari with a fingering weight and make this. And I like the pockets, so I might do something similar for pockets. But yeah, I would not do a collar like that. But this is not a raglan, it's a set-in sleeve, which it might be good to have a little structure and maybe make it so it's not, I can make it seamless if I do that construction where you do sort of a triangle in the back and then you go over the shoulder and you pick up stitches on that triangle and go over the shoulder. I think it's kind of a European construction. So perhaps I'll do that so that it's still seamless and it's not, you don't have to do a bunch of seams. I know people don't love that because I think once you go over the shoulder, you can go down to under the armpits and then join the front and back and then keep going. You still have to go back and forth because it's a cardigan. I'd have to go back and forth with a knit row, purl row, but I could do that. And maybe a double knit button band with buttons, and then I gotta decide on the collar. I don't know what to do, but that can come later. So anyway, yeah, I'm excited about that. It'll be fun to get started and get that cardigan made for him. That could be maybe a fall project. So since I have these 2 summer tees going, I'm trying to use this new microphone, and I don't know if anybody knows how to do this, but like, I need to have this recording device that I'm using. It's just like the iPhone recording device to stay on. Like I keep looking down and it turned off. So this is going to be a video where it's like the sound is good and then it's going to drop for a second and then it'll be good again because I cannot figure this out. But anyway, let's see here. So yeah, favorite things. So I have a couple of favorite things that are going on right now. One of them is, well, a couple of things. I'm a Patreon member for a homespun house, and I keep getting these little mini skeins. They're so cute. I think I might even have more, but I love getting these little mini skeins. They're adorable, and I have a design idea in mind for that, but it's sitting in my little basket. So I am such a fan of this designer and design company, Doug Johnston. He's actually a friend of my husband's, and he has this business, and he does these woven baskets. So this is a backpack tote. I think I've shown you before, but it has these like toggle buttons. This is the perfect knitting basket because it sits upright. Like if you're on the beach, no sand gets in it or anything, and there's a toggle at the top to like open and close it. But your yarn can sit in there. It's structured so it's not flopping around and you don't have to dig for your yarn. It's just this nice opening. Sorry, a lot of junk in there. But anyway, this is my purse, my backpack, my tote, my everything. And I'm on the second one. I have this one, which you can see is totally tattered and discolored at the top. I wore this thing out traveling with it, and this toggle thing broke. I mean, I used this for years and years and years. So I got myself a new one. That piece that's hanging back there is a Doug Johnston piece. And then I recently ordered these two baskets. This one matches the art that we have downstairs in our house, so I have it sitting there. And I think it's made with like nylon rope, so it's a little more kind of flimsy. But look at that join, so pretty. So it's like rope and thread baskets. So cool. And they make the perfect little baskets for skeins of yarn. So anyway, I just love it. On Instagram, his Instagram handle is Hawk Trainer, and love his work. So this is another basket. And there's the inside. So there's like blue thread and then red thread. There's the join there. So cool. I love these baskets. So I got those two, and then, because he's a friend of my husband, he sent along an extra one. Thank you, Doug. Oh my gosh, this one. And it's so funny because he sent this one, and I think this one's my favorite. I just love that navy blue, that white thread. There's the bottom, and then I've got my Sandnes yarn, which looks so pretty in there, doesn't it? Oh my gosh, that blood orange. Oh no, that's not Sandnes yarn. That's the Knitting for Olive pure silk. Anyway, I love how that looks in there. So pretty. So I've got my project sitting in there, and I just love a structured, something that stays open. I don't know how people use floppy knitting bags because it just drives me nuts when they don't stay open and I can't easily pull out my yarn and have it visible. I don't know. It's just, I love a structured basket. So love it. Here's another piece by him. This is a vase. So anyway, this one doesn't, it just kind of ends up at the top. I have that one right there. It's a big tote. Kind of obsessed. Love his work. And then here's a pencil basket. Love. I think I had some like crochet hooks and things sitting in this. So anyway, though, that is like my favorite thing right now are these Doug Johnston objects. I just have a bunch of them. I love them. I could buy 100 more. Love, love, love. Yeah, and I'll put his contact and his website in the show notes. But yeah, that's kind of what I have for today. I treated myself. My other favorite object right now, and there's like coffee splashes on it, but is this Heath Ceramics mug. So my friend lived in San Francisco Gina lived in San Francisco for 5 to 7 years, something like that. And she had all these Heath Ceramics objects in her house, like ramekins and little ramekins that she would like have her pills in, or her little, just whatever in the kitchen. These small ramekins. I have one, I purchased a ramekin and I have stitch markers in it in the other room. But this mug, this is like, I just love that streamlined modern design. I love this thing. So, and this color, I was waiting for this color to come out, because this is my favorite color, this red orange, and then next to it is this teal, like aquamarine turquoise. I don't know what this color is, but I love it. I think they called it cyan or something. I can't remember, but Heath Ceramics, love it. So yeah, that's my other favorite thing right now. And then what I'm watching, what I'm reading. So what I'm watching, my husband and I always watch TV together at night, and I knit and he looks at his phone and whatever. We watch a show. So what we're watching right now is The Handmaid's Tale. Now, the first season and maybe the second, I thought was the best. And then it's gotten a little bit like slick, or like, I don't know if other people feel this way, but I felt like when they were following the story of Margaret Atwood's book, Handmaid's Tale, it was really, really good. And then it seemed like it became about something else, like, I don't know. And the actresses are always looking up with these dramatic eyes and like female power and whatever. It's like, I like that theme, but it just felt like I don't know. It veered away from like the first couple seasons, which it would have to. The story has to grow, but like something kind of fell off the rails for us with that show in the later seasons, but we're still like, we need to see what happens at the end. So we keep watching it, but it's a little bit of a scary show to be watching right now based on the political climate and everything. But yeah, I won't say too much more about that. But then the other couple of favorite things, or like what I'm watching, is 2 podcasts that I really love and I want to share with you. One of them is Laura Penrose, the Knitting Pickle podcast. I love Laura Penrose. So she's got a couple of really incredible patterns. There's like a blanket that has these triangles in it, and it's a great way to use mini skeins from, like if you have an Advent mini skein calendar, it would be an incredible way to use that yarn. You'll have to just check it out. You'll know what I mean. It's these triangles. It's like a cream color, and then the triangles are the mini skeins. So anyway, that one's great. And then, and I love watching her. She's just really great. And then, Greatest Knits. So my Kumo sweater, which uses La Bien-Aimée Kumo yarn and Helix or Felix, I can't remember which one. The designer is Julia Wilkins. She and her friend, Mathilde, I think is her name, they just came out with a new episode. They hadn't like put out a podcast episode for like a year, but Julia Wilkins is, she's constantly designing for different publications, and she's got her own designs going on. She's incredible. And so, yeah, they just put out a new episode and I watched it today. Highly, highly recommend. Go back to the very beginning and watch their podcast. It's so, so good. And they're 2 knitters who are living in Amsterdam, and they always talk about, their favorite things and like feeds on Instagram that they are inspired by, and just sharing their knitted objects and everything. They're awesome. So check them out. And then I'm reading the last of the Sarah Maas series. So I read Akatar, A Court of Thorns and Roses. Then I read Throne of Glass, and now Crescent City. So I finished the first book of Crescent City, and I'm kind of now, which is why was I not doing this before? I always read books. I don't listen to them on Audible or anything. But with this next book, I am listening to it so I can sit and knit while I listen to that versus, just watching podcasts or whatever I'm watching on television. I can listen to this book. And brilliant. The only thing is sometimes the narrators drive me nuts. Like the voice in my head for the characters is, I don't know. It's like I want to hear the voice of the character in my head versus the voice of the narrator, which, they kind of change their voice for the different characters, but I don't love that aspect of an audiobook because I like to imagine what the sound of the voice is of the character versus hearing this narrator and their voice. So I don't know if some of you feel that way, but that's just how that goes for me. And yeah, that series, I would say I probably like those books in the order that I read them. Like this one, it was good, but I liked Akatar better and then Throne of Glass. It might just be because that's the order that I read them in, but that's kind of how it's going. But I do like this main character and her, her opposite, her like the ingenue roles. I like those two in this book, but yeah. Anyway, that's what I'm reading. That's what I'm watching. And yeah, I hope you are all having a great spring. And let me know what you're knitting and what you're reading and watching. I always love seeing that in the comments. And yeah, have you made the Cumulus Tee and have you made a Ranunculus Tee? Any tips and tricks for making the tea? I really like how Casey did a cuff. Is that what you call it? I don't know. She did a longer sleeve for her tee and then did, I think, ribbed edging. And so I might do that because I think the pattern, you don't do ribbed edging. And I think I might do that with like the twisted rib, which is I think on the collar and the cuff. So, or the hem, sorry. And so, yeah, I might do that too. We'll see. I really like how hers turned out. So I'll probably follow her lead there. And then next episode I was thinking I've been seeing a lot of cool summer tees. So I thought I would do like top 10 summer tees to knit or something. But if you have any ideas of what, I should do for one of my episodes, let me know. And I would be happy to do that. And then what else? Yeah, like I said, I had my 50th birthday. I went to Mexico with my girlfriends. Maybe I'll pop up a couple of photos. It was incredible. Highly recommend going on vacation with your girlfriends, whether it's local or somewhere far away. It was just so good to have all that time together. And it was awesome for me to like just get on a plane and go somewhere because of COVID and COVID safety with high risk people in my life. Like I hadn't traveled very much. And so it was amazing just to get out of town and go somewhere. And it was so relaxing and so wonderful not to have, a bunch of, I don't know, things to do on the list. It was like the biggest decisions we made were, where are we going to eat tonight at this all-inclusive hotel? Where are we going to eat? And which pool are we going to sit by? And what time should we meet up? I mean, it was like, who's going to save the seats by the pool? Because you always had to have somebody get up early and go claim the seats, and then we'd all meet down there. So, I mean, those were the decisions we made. It was pretty great. And yeah, just to turn off the brain and not have a bunch of responsibility. So that was awesome. And then before that, my husband and I went to St. Louis, Missouri. We stayed just outside of St. Louis, Missouri in a place called Innsbruck. And they had all these cool A-frame cabins from like the 70s or something. It was so cool. And our place had a hot tub. And I mean, we just had a blast. He had to work in the city in St. Louis, and then he would drive. It was like an hour away. And then he would drive back. And I worked maybe 2 or 3 days at the cabin. But the rest of the time we just kind of like walked in nature, and it was great. It was much needed getaway for us too. So anyway, I've had those 2 trips, which is probably why I haven't podcasted. And yeah, so it's just been a busy couple of months, but I'm ready to get back on track with my podcasting. I might switch back to the other room. I need to figure out like this situation. So this room is a little darker than that room. And so I might move my stuff back into that room, and I don't know. My clothes are hanging in that closet. It's just like my husband moved up. He used to work at the dining room table downstairs for years and years and years. And then he was like, I need a place where I can be quiet and shut the door and have like focused time, which I could totally understand. So he moved up here, and now we're in these 2 rooms. I think I need to switch just based on the lighting. Like if that room gets the morning light, my closet isn't there. And just logistically, it's not working out great for me to be in this room. So I think we're going to do a little swap, but that's going to be a big project. I'm not sure why I'm telling you that, but if you see a different background the next time, that is why. But anyway, I hope you're all doing well. I hope you have something lovely on your needles and you're inspired and making something that you love, and let me know what it is. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for being here. Bye.